So over the past few videos, we've been talking about academic integrity, plagiarism, attribution, references, and citation. In this video, we're going to start looking at how we can ensure that we're aligning with academic integrity and making sure we're being honest, trustworthy, respectful, fair, and responsible. Remember that these are the values outlined in the academic integrity policy at Carleton University. As I mentioned in previous videos, you're now part of the scholarly community, and your research and contributions to the literature, and that is to say the information about your chosen topic, matter. So in the past video, we talked about plagiarism, and in this video, we're going to look at a technique used to avoid plagiarism, and that's called paraphrasing, and get a chance to see that technique used in practice. So by the end of this video, we should have a good understanding of what paraphrasing is, and we'll be able to avoid things like paraphrasing plagiarism. We'll also be able to avoid verbatim plagiarism, and we're also going to be able to identify something called common knowledge, and we'll talk a little bit about that moving forward. So what is paraphrasing? Paraphrasing means expressing someone else's ideas in your own voice while keeping the same essential meaning. Remember, even if you paraphrase, you must cite the source, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the specifics of citing in another video, but to reiterate, citing or citation means acknowledging someone else's ideas or writing. In academics, there's a specific way that we can do this. In theory, paraphrasing does sound kind of easy, but in reality, it can actually be very, very challenging. So I want to take some time to look at examples of paraphrasing, and over the next few slides, we'll see improper ways to paraphrase, as well as better ways that we can go about paraphrasing. So in our first example, we're going to look at paraphrasing plagiarism, and that means that we need to rewrite the original passage without changing the meaning of the original text. But we also need to avoid wording that is too similar to the original. That's a little bit confusing, but we'll look at this in a second here. Remember that paraphrasing doesn't just mean switching out a few words or synonyms, and synonyms are just words or phrases that mean exactly or nearly the same as another word. And we need to do this while retaining the original, we have to do this without retaining the original sentence structure. And this can be, because if we do that and keep it too similar, this is called paraphrasing plagiarism. And the author's ideas must be reformulated in a way that fits smoothly into your own text. And we will see an example of proper ways to do this, as well as a way that would constitute plagiarism. So we can see here, this is our original text, and I'm just going to read it very quickly for you. So much of modern day life revolves around using opposable thumbs, from holding a hammer to build a home to ordering food delivery on our smartphones. But for our ancestors, the uses were much simpler. Strong and nimble thumbs meant that they could better create and wield tools, stones, and bones for killing large animals for food. So that's the original, and you can see that we have cited the original author here, and there's the citation. But here is an example of the paraphrasing plagiarism. You can see I've kept the original text so we can kind of quickly compare them, but we can see I'm going to read the second sentence out, or the second paraphrasing out. So we can see a lot of life today involves using opposable thumbs, from using a hammer to build a house to ordering something on our smartphones. But for our predecessors, the uses were much more simple. Powerful and dexterous thumbs meant that they could better make and use tools, stones, and bones for killing large animals to eat. So let's quickly look at this. You can see they did keep the sentence structure almost exactly the same, but they have changed out some of the words, but this would be paraphrasing plagiarism. You can see so much was changed to a lot. Modern day life revolves was changed to life today involves. Holding was changed to using. Home was changed to house. Food delivery was changed to something. Ancestors was changed to predecessors. Much simpler was simply changed to more simple. Strong and nimble, powerful and dexterous. You can see create and wield was changed to make and use. For food was changed to eat. And you can see the other thing that was missing from this example was there was also no citation. So this is just completely wrong. We need to make sure that we change it enough to make it a different sentence structure, but we also need to keep the original essence intact. But you can see in this example of paraphrasing plagiarism, they've simply just swapped out words for other words, and this is an example of paraphrasing plagiarism, and also no citation. Here's an example of a better correct paraphrasing in this example. And I'm not going to read the original out, but I'm going to read the correct paraphrasing out now. So opposable thumbs are such an ingrained part of humans' day-to-day life that most do not pay them much notice. However, they could be a matter of life and death for our ancestors. Per Handwork 2021, opposable thumbs allowed earlier humans to survive and thrive, enhancing their ability to create tools and weapons to kill large animals. So you can see a couple things here. They did change the wording. It wasn't just a simple synonyms. They didn't just quickly change it a couple words. They restructured it to be in their own words, but also they've included the in-text citation. So that's the first example, paraphrasing plagiarism. Our second example is verbatim plagiarism. And verbatim plagiarism is another form of plagiarism. And this happens when we quote or copy a brief passage from another text without quotations or citing or attributing that work to the original author. This is copying someone's exact words without acknowledgement. Even if you change a few words, it's still plagiarism. To quote correctly, introduce the quotation in your own words and make sure that it's enclosed in quotation marks and include a citation showing where it comes from. So we can see here, this is the original text. Ancient Sparta has been held up for the last 2.5 millennia as the unmatched warrior city-state where every male was raised from infancy to fight to the death. This view, as ingrained as it is alluring, is almost entirely false. And there's the original citation there that I've included. But if we look at verbatim plagiarism, we can see this is the changed text here. For the last 2,500 years, ancient Sparta has been considered the unmatched warrior city-state in popular imagination. The idea that every male was raised from infancy to fight to the death is ingrained as it is alluring, is not actually true. And we can see here, let's just quickly look at this together. So you can see just a simple, the unmatched warrior city-state, just taken word for word from that from the original text. You can see every male was raised from infancy to fight to the death. Every male was raised from infancy to fight to the death, as ingrained as it is alluring, and we can see it's just taken verbatim from that original passage here. And we can also see, like I mentioned in the other example, there's also no citation, so it's just something we need to think about. But if we look at using an example where we've quoted correctly with a citation, you can see for the last 2,500 years, ancient Sparta has been considered the, and there's the quotes, unmatched warrior city-state in popular imagination, where every male was raised from birth to fight to the death. Despite its prominence, this perception is highly misleading. And you can see where we've taken exact phrasing from that original text, we've put quotations around it. So we've put the quotations. This indicates that we have taken it directly from the original source, and we've also provided an in-text citation. So this is a correct way to quote with a citation. The third thing we're going to be looking at is common knowledge. So common knowledge can be tricky, but typically refers to information that you can reasonably expect the average reader to accept without proof. So for this kind of information, you don't need a citation. For example, you wouldn't be accused of plagiarism for failing to cite your source when you mention Paris is the capital city of France. In order to be considered common knowledge, your statement must be widely known, undisputed, and easily verified, and it also generally cannot be attributed to a specific person or paper. So when in doubt, it's always safer to add a citation just to be sure. So here's an example of common knowledge. Independence Day in the United States is celebrated on July 4th, and there is no kind of debating that. What happens is if we change the information a little bit, so here's an example of not common knowledge, and this is where a citation would be required. The Continental Congress actually voted for independence on July 2nd, 1776, even though Independence Day today is celebrated every July 4th, and that is taken right from the National Archives from 2005. In order for it to be considered common knowledge, again, I'm just going to reiterate this, your statement must be widely known, undisputed, and easily verified. It also generally cannot be attributed to a specific person or paper, and again, like I said, I've bolded this, when in doubt, add a citation. So throughout these videos, we've been talking about avoiding academic integrity violations, and although we've been talking about citations, bibliographies, reference lists, and attribution, we haven't gone much into detail about these. So in the next module, we'll take a closer look at citations and references.